noon hour. Sports Talk 757 coming back to you with your host, Claudell Clark, Executive Director of the Sports Commission, Hampton Roads Sports Commission. Show just brought together during the toughest of times to continue the mission of the Chamber and the Sports Commission to expose sports and to tell the story of sports in the Hampton Roads region at all levels and all corners of the region. Today we have with us Bob Pizzini, Managing Partner and CEO of iFLY Virginia Beach, and Richard Appleby, President of the Hampton Roads Youth Hockey Association. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon to you, Claudell.
How you doing, Claudell? Good to be here.
Doing well, doing well. Very lucky to have you guys. I know, Richard, you kind of join in with us later in the week, but great to have you. And I know you'll have nothing but colorful insight to add to the program. We also want to recognize our sponsors, Town Bank, Optima Health, CHKD Sports Medicine, Atlantic Bay Mortgage, the Hampton Roads Chamber, and Pepsi. So the great gracious sponsors have helped us to make this possible. Bob, if you would, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your establishment there at iFLY. I know we gone through a long planning process and got that initiated or established in 2015. Just a great facility over there. Matter of fact, I was there this past Sunday and I just had a great time. And after 2 flights, that was more than enough. But just tell us a little bit more about the establishment and how it's grown to be what we see today.
Yeah, you bet. So I served in Navy Special Operations for 26 years. And one of my last assignments was to make sure that we had sustainment and advanced training for our airborne mobility skills, which is military freefall, and for all of our diving capabilities. So in the military freefall realm, we would go to these vertical wind tunnels or these simulators in different parts of the country and do our training, and other military units would be there from Virginia Beach doing their training. And we would always come back to Virginia Beach and say, wow, why isn't there one here? This is such a great place. While we were at these other locations, we would see mom, dad, and the kids. You know, you had the experience with your family. We would see the 18-year-olds on a date. We would see the 45-year-old parents on date night out. We saw the full business model. And knowing that Virginia Beach is a great city and a tourist destination, we just thought that this would be a great place. So that was the vision, or that was the, that was when I started losing sleep, so to speak, over the concept. That was back in 2009, 2010. Since then, I retired from active duty, put a business plan together, found an incredible business partner in the Breedens, and 6 short years after the good idea, we opened our doors for business, 2015.
Definitely, congratulations to you and a tremendous staff there, first class and very professional. Richard, please tell us a little bit more about yourself as the president of the Hampton Roads Youth Hockey Association.
Well, Claudell, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I played hockey all my youth life and adult life. And we moved down here to Virginia Beach in about around 1988. A few years after we got here, my youngest son decided he wanted to get involved in sports, so we got involved with the hockey program over at Iceland through HIRA. And along the way, I became the business manager for Hampton Roads Youth Hockey, which is a 501c nonprofit. And then I became the hockey director and ultimately became the president. And now we have a pretty healthy program that focuses on youth hockey, developing young hockey players into responsible citizens. We focus on skill development, not necessarily winning games, but skills to play hockey. Many of our players want to play travel hockey. And also, a large number of our players go on to college and play college club hockey. And they go there prepared to play the game and also as a responsible student. So we've been involved in the hockey program here for a number of years. We skate out of Iceland. We've got a good group of kids, a great group of parents, and everyone's just having a lot of fun. Even with this COVID stuff that we're dealing with, everyone is still enjoying the game and getting out and playing.
Well, we talked about Iceland and we talked about youth hockey in the area, but we also know that you all are involved with the Warrior for Life group and foundation, trying to bring an even larger facility to the area. So, Bob, back to you. If you would just tell us a little bit more about that initiative and what we could possibly see in the future as it relates to hockey facilities.
Yeah, sure. So we have this vision to build a 2 sheet of ice rink, so two rinks under one roof. in Virginia Beach. We know through what's going on at Iceland that we have the demand for it. All of our ice at Iceland is sold. And I coach high school hockey, by the way, at Iceland. I didn't mention that earlier. If people are wondering what the connection between me and Rich. But so Rich and I met a number of years ago through the interest of hockey. We got to know each other's business backgrounds. We're very comfortable working together. And so Rich and I and another fellow by the name of Ryan Crowley put together a plan to build a rink in conjunction with the Warrior for Life Fund. Now, the Warrior for Life Fund is a new 501c3 that we started that really focuses on the military in this area in particular, and our affiliation, the military's affiliation with hockey. At our rink at Iceland, 60% of our skaters are military affiliated, either active duty or retired veterans like myself, or family members of all of the above. And the Warrior for Life Fund came to realize that hockey provides a great outlet for combat veterans or people returning from long deployments. You know, hockey is a place where you get all the energy out there on the ice, you're hyper vigilant, and it's just a real good release for the special operations community and for other people who get on the ice and participate. So that concept was born, and we quickly established a wonderful relationship with the Boston Bruins alumni and some other organizations, Navy SEAL Foundation, and they're all partnering with us on this project to build this 2-sheet of ice rink, which would be a community asset at the end of the day. We want to have after-school programs for kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to figure skate or play hockey. We want the facility to be a safe place and again, a community asset. So that's kind of the summary there. And Rich, please, if I left anything out.
No, I think it's a pretty good summary. I think this thing really got its start between us and the Warrior for Life group some years ago when Ryan Crowley, who's our third partner, who's also just retired from the Navy for Special Forces, he brought in a sled hockey team to Iceland. And the sled hockey team is a really cool deal. We have a number of disabled members that are on the sleds playing the game, and that's a real big thing for these guys to help with the transition. And this thing kind of developed along the way where Ryan and Bob and I said, well, maybe we can expand this. The problem is we don't have the ice, we don't have the facilities. And Iceland is an old facility. It originally was put into ice facility back in 1981, 82. It was an old roller hockey rink that was converted to ice. It's not regulation size, and we have small locker rooms, and we're really not geared for the disabled crowd that we're trying to get done. So we came up with this idea of taking our program, the Hampton Roads Youth Hockey, along with the Iceland facility, marrying it up with the Warrior for Life group and the Navy SEAL Foundation, and come up with a plan to build a 90,000 square foot 2-sheet facility where one of the rinks is really dedicated to the disabled crowd with all the different amenities that one needs to support that group. And the second rink was going to be a larger rink that we could use as a base to build not only hockey, but other events in Virginia Beach. So that's the project we've really been working hard on. We're making great progress. Bob mentioned the Boston Bruin alumni. They're a core part of our Warrior for Life board, and their role is to help us raise the money and awareness. And we have some Hockey Hall of Famers on that board. He mentioned Tom Laidlaw from the Rangers. We have Ricky Middleton, Frank Simonetti. We have a bunch of guys that are really participating. It's two things: grow the sport of hockey and support the military community. We have a lot of military guys who play the game. And we just thought it's a natural relationship to develop. And so far it's been great.
We talked about the progress, of the facility, the foundation coming together, but what is the price tag on the facility for those who are listening? People want to know the bottom line. What's the goal we need to get towards?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and maybe we have something scrolling at the bottom of the podcast where donations can be made. But Bob, we have a pretty big price tag on it, and it's kind of like a moving target as we go. But the city has really helped us with this project. Bob, maybe you can address what we're doing on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we need about 10 acres to build the facility, and we have asked the city to donate 10 acres of land in the Princess Anne Athletic Complex area, and this would be good for the city as well. So we're working through that with the city manager's office and city council right now, and that's all we're asking for. If they donate the land, we will finance the rest through fundraising. Again, our organization is a 501c3. So we are a foundation across the board, and the city so far really likes this project, and they're putting a lot of city resource into helping us develop it. So price tag at the end of the day, about $12 million, and that's a lot of money to raise. But again, with the help of our partners from the Boston Bruins alumni and others who serve on the Warrior for Life Fund board, Tom Laidlaw, somebody former New York Ranger who we mentioned. These people have good connectivity to benevolent organizations and benevolent people who like to help military and other people be successful. So that's where we're at. 12 million. The Warrior for Life Fund. You can Google it and find us, and or just contact myself or Rich personally, and we'd be happy to explain the project in greater detail and take any donation. You know, $1 is not too little. We will take anything anybody has to offer.
No, we certainly wanted to get that out on the air, as I'm sure you've had many times through many meetings and many presentations. But we wanted people to know what their goal is, and what you're trying to work towards. You mentioned military, disabled, and kind of adults. But how would the facility serve the youth or high school age participants who are interested in hockey or want to go on to college? How would that serve or open up doors for youth in this area as it relates to hockey and moving on to the next level?
That's a great question. And it's really not just about hockey. We have hockey there. We have youth hockey, adult hockey. We have figure skating. We have a lot of type that. So by being positioned down in the Princess Anne area, there's a lot of synergy down there with the football fields and the lacrosse fields and the soccer fields. And we just want to open up this whole thing to all ages, all groups, and let them get involved. And then also we have a big involvement with the adult program. We have a lot of adult military guys that grew up outside of Virginia from all over the country that grew up playing hockey, and they're looking for a place. So what we're really trying to do here is really build not just an ice rink, but this is like a community center concept. This is really focusing on all sports. We have some things planned for the inside that have, and Bob can help with this detail, is exercise rooms and study rooms and labs and stuff like that to help support the community, where it's just not hockey, it is youth activities. And you got the field house down there, you got the soccer field, you've got the USA Hockey field facility, you got baseball fields. We think there's just a lot of synergy that we can add to the program that's already a real successful program down there at Virginia Beach.
Yeah, and let me throw a couple program specifics on there. One of the things we want to do through the Warrior for Life Fund is make sure that any kid who wants to play youth hockey or figure skate, and in a lot of cases we're talking about young ladies when we're talking about figure skating, we don't want cost or deployment of parents to be a barrier to their participation. Right. So, a mom whose husband is deployed or a dad whose wife is deployed with 2 or 3 kids, they can only drive so many kids to so many after school events. And then there's some things can be cost prohibitive as well. And we want to remove that barrier from all military people, but also, so that's one thing we want to do. We want to remove the barrier of cost and availability or accessibility. And as Rich was talking about the community aspect, we have a program at iFLY Virginia Beach where we bring kids from SeaTac Elementary School here over a 26-week period, and they fly with us once a week. So that 3:30 to 6:30 window after school, we have 12 of those kids in our facility. We feed them, we have a guest speaker, and we fly them. And at week 13, they do a showcase for their parents, and these kids are just like, Mom, Dad, look at me. And I think I've had you watch the video, right, Claudell? Yeah.
program. I was going to ask you about that, and I'm glad you brought it up. Please continue.
Yeah. Well, so so what we're doing with those kids from SeaTac Elementary School was actually inspired by a program at a place called the DuPont Ice Arena in Washington, D.C. And they did the same thing with their ice. They took these inner city kids who faced challenges, outside of school, and they made the ice rink kind of this safe haven for these kids. And these kids have become good hockey players, good figure skaters, Ivy League graduates. They've been doing this for 25 years. They have literally saved lives. And so part of our community programming with the Warrior Ice Center is to do just that. It's to be an after-school activity for kids who may be at risk.
Yeah, Bob, that's a great point that Bob's making. Our program, by the community aspect, is that we do that now, and that is if the kid wants to skate, either figure skating or hockey, and they can't afford it, we figure out how to make that happen. We are a 501c nonprofit. We're not in this business to make a dollar. We're in this business to grow the sport and offer support for the community. So we do all kinds of things like that now in the background. We don't publish that. We don't really talk about it too much. But if we have an issue where a kid needs support, either gear. I remember 2 years ago, we had a goalie who needed a helmet, didn't have a face helmet, and we ended up spending the money to buy him a helmet, right? Because his parents couldn't afford it. We will do what it takes to support the community of these kids and keep these kids busy. We know that if we keep the kids busy in an activity, they will stay out of trouble. And as with most of our youth hockey players, they're actually pretty good students, because we can use the game as a kind of like a
metaphor for life. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's cool. Along those lines, I coach the high school kids now, and I love hanging around these young men and young ladies because it's just like Rich said, you can really see these kids maturing and developing camaraderie with each other and relationships. Hopefully that will last them for the rest of their lives. One of our hockey moms sent me a picture of her son and my son from a couple of years ago. They were both wearing a suit and tie. It was a school event, but they both go to the same school. And it was a wonderful picture of the kids. And she said, I bet you these kids are going to be friends for life.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just great stuff.
Right. Well, we in the program, Claudell, we offer something that some of the kids are not getting in other areas. That is discipline, respect, support. And the game of hockey does a great job. And that, by the way, a lot of the attributes of a hockey program kind of marry up with the military program. It's the same thing. It's all about discipline, respect, working hard, following through, and having respect for one another. So that's why the military program and the hockey program marry up so much, because we're almost exactly the same belief system and strategy for coaching.
Yeah, teamwork, team supporting team. My job is to be there for my teammates.
That's right. It's all called support. Yep.
Well, we talked economics and fundraising goals for the facility, but we also, especially in Virginia Beach and all cities in the area, think about economic development and economic impact. So would not that facility be a great attraction for maybe hockey tournaments or figure skating tournaments or other ice-based events? If you could tell us a little bit more about, what it could bring to the city, as we've seen with a number of facilities in Virginia Beach.
Right. Well, we have projected, our facility is sold out, as Bob has mentioned, so it's very difficult for us to bring tournaments in. But with a 2-sheet facility at the beach, located by the beach, which is a very attractive location for people from out of state to come to, we think that we can sell a ton of hotel rooms. I have been contacted by every major group that puts on hockey tournaments around the country, and all they're saying to me is, when you guys going to be open? We can support you. And these are groups that bring in 20, 30 teams a weekend. And you're talking about a ton of hotel rooms, a ton of restaurant receipts, a ton of kids here, and just the exposure to the beach. And we think that we can draw a big crowd here. People want to come to Virginia Beach. People up north, I'm from Michigan. Virginia Beach is kind of like a special place to people up north. People from Canada will come down here. Once they open that border up again, they'll be down here. And people from Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey love coming to Virginia Beach. You go play hockey, and after the game, you go down to the beach. Even in the wintertime, when people come to the beach, they're coming from places that's covered in snow. So even in January, when they come to the beach, they're out there wanting to go swimming. We're all bundled up, but to them, it's got going to la la land. So we think we'll get a big response. And the other thing is, and Bob, I want you to jump in on this too. Hockey's not the only thing we can bring. Figure skating. There's a massive figure skating community out there, and we could host figure skating events here. And then we also have our third option, and that's the college hockey program. They're looking for a place right now. The program, the ACCHL, which I'm associated with, which has 32 college teams, they have their national tournament in Frisco, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. Why not do it here? Why not do it at our facility? We have 2 sheets. We got people who want great hotel support. Why not do that kind of stuff? So there's an unlimited number of possibilities to bring business down here to the beach.
Yeah, we think in our first year we'll do 5,000 to 7,000 hotel nights, and that's through hosting 6 tournaments year one, and then growing with all the stuff that Rich mentioned. I mean, the demand and the desire is already there. All we need to do is satisfy it and feed it. And there's 10 rinks in Raleigh-Durham, which is 3 hours south of here. If you go north, by the time you get to Maryland, there's 45 or 50 rinks. And so hockey has grown. Hockey and ice sports, figure skating has grown explosively in the last 15 years across the U.S. And coastal Virginia Beach is an incredible market for this sport. And we're excited about the opportunities.
Yeah, we think not only will we grow the business in Virginia Beach, but I think there'll be a runoff business for the rinks in Chesapeake and the one over in Newport News. We're interested in just growing the sport. I think our program will help the entire hockey community in Hampton Roads and their figure skating community and adult program. I think it's a Hampton Roads project, not just a beach project.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is. As a matter of fact, one of our letters of endorsement was from the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce president and CEO, your boss, Claudell, Brian Stevens. But when we discussed the project with the chamber, he immediately recognized that this is a regional asset. And then within the facility itself, one of our rinks is going to be a showcase rink. Rich mentioned this earlier. So the floor will be convertible, somewhere between 2,500 and 4,000 seats, and we can host basketball championships and martial arts championships and steel chainsaw lumberjack championships and high school graduations.
High school stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So a box office, really robust facility. And that's all revenue for the city of Virginia Beach, every bit of it.
And you talked about, Rich, and Bob, you talked about how we could grow the hockey footprint at all levels in the region, and especially the area in the city of Virginia Beach. But tell us a little bit about what hockey looks like now at the youth levels, at the adult levels, even the high school levels for persons who are interested. Where are they participating, and what is the person doing right this second who is involved in hockey? Because so many people just don't know. All we know in a lot of cases is just the Admirals. But what are youth participants doing as it relates to hockey nowadays?
Well, there's actually three separate programs here in the Virginia area. We've got our program, and we're housing about 150 house players. The Chesapeake rink is a dual sheet facility, and they're doing travel and junior program there, which is a higher level of the game. And then the Peninsula folks over in Newport News are also hosting a house hockey. I don't have the exact numbers for the other 2 groups. Our numbers, we've had the highest registration of players in the last 15 years this year with our program. And we're getting a tremendous input at the younger ages. I'm talking 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. And so we're running about 150 kids in our program right now, plus a couple more. And as Bob has said, our ice is sold out. Our adult program, which also is very successful, is also successful over in Chesapeake and in Newport News. And we think that we just need more ice available. If you make more ice available at reasonable times, at reasonable price, I think more people could come out. This is an expensive sport. to put a kid on ice. And our goal is to help with the expenses, try to keep the expenses down through our program. That's why the 501c program is kind of like where we're at, because again, we're not in there to make the 20% net profit. We're in there just to provide a service and keep it as inexpensive as possible. When you put a kid on the ice today, someone asked me the other day, I think, Bob, it was at our meeting with Regent, one of the Regent folks said, what's it cost for a uniform for a player? And like for a college hockey player, it could be $400 to $500 just for the uniform. And the skates right now, some of these skates are costing $800 to $900.
That's crazy.
So it could be an expensive sport. Our goal is to try to keep it affordable and give people an opportunity to play the game. And as we've said with our Goodwill scholarship program, we'll figure out how to get more kids on the ice and playing the game. And this holds true also with the figure skating program.
Well, we talked in terms of youth and high school. Bob, we've also talked in discussion about Regent University and beginning a hockey program there. If you tell us a little bit more about that and what are your plans there and your vision?
Sure. So Regent started a hockey program 3 years ago. Rich is kind of the executive director by the, if you will, handling all the league formalities. The original coach was a coach by the name of Jason Simpson. Great guy, good hockey player, retired Navy chief. And he has since moved on. I was going to coach Regent last year, but we had problems building a roster, getting our recruiting efforts underway. And then as we were putting things in motion this year, COVID kind of, the whole league shut down. But we met with the athletic director. Rich and I did just this a few days ago, and they want hockey to be part of their athletics program. They want to grow it aggressively. They want to get the recruiting in motion. So our vision, as Rich said, it takes a few years to build it, but our vision is to build out the Regent hockey program, just like Rich did with ODU a number of years ago. And Rich, you probably tell us about what you did with ODU.
Yeah, the ODU project, I was with the program for about 6-7 years, and that's become a very successful club hockey program with good support from the university. They also skate at our facility, and that has now been taken over by our hockey director, Adam Danforth, who's now the coach for ODU. So our plans are to have at least 2 college teams in our program. We got Regent University and Old Dominion. And you never know who that third one may be at some point in time. You never know who else is coming down the pike. But we've got ODU's got a great program. Regent, we will build that into a great program. As Bob says, this takes a little time. We have to do a lot of recruiting. That's one of the biggest things about college hockey is you have to always be recruiting kids to come to school. Now, one thing about our club programs is these are not athletes who are going to college. These are students who want to play hockey. The student comes first. The athletics comes second, and it's very important that these kids get their education and get their money's worth for all the money they're spending. So it's really focused on academics and hockey, and we've got a very strong support from the ACCHL, which is the Atlantic Coastal Community. And as I said, we've got 32 teams there. We got 16 D3 and 16 D2 teams, and plus we just added a women's division in. So it's that part of our program is also growing pretty significantly.
Bob, you mentioned Regent, and you said their athletic program. In a lot of cases, people didn't realize Regent had an athletic program. So what other sports did they have besides hockey?
Well, basketball,
okay.
Soccer are the 2 that I'm most familiar with. There's probably more, but a little bit outside of my scope.
No, I mean, we appreciate you answering that because, and again, this is just to inform people and to bring light to things about the great things they're doing, not only academically at Regent, but athletically. So that's a great thing, and it brings other opportunities. Once the program is up and running, obviously you talked about Old Dominion's club team. What other teams in the surrounding region or surrounding states would you all play against?
Well, we have in the region, we have William and Mary.
Okay.
Christopher Newport University, University of Richmond. A little further north, we have George Mason, University of Maryland, Salisbury. You head south, we go to, there's teams in Raleigh, North Carolina State, there's a ton of teams. The club hockey thing is really growing rather rapidly because it's very structured now. It's not a beer league program. It's a real hockey program. And universities have gotten behind it because they recognize also that these students need a relief valve. And a relief valve can be athletics, but athletics can't be the dominant force in their life. So the club hockey program has really taken on. And there's been some instances of some of these club hockey players actually getting offered professional contracts down the line. So that program is continuing to grow. But we have a lot of universities participating in that.
Good. Well, Rich, back to you with the Hampton Roads Youth Hockey Association. What does the future look like there? We talked about the facility and the vision to grow the program, but what is the future outlook for both this year as we reopen things, hopefully, and the upcoming years? How do you plan to grow, and what do you see moving forward?
Claudell, that's a great question because that's the hard question. We're growing in spite of the fact that we don't have the inventory to support it. So what we're looking at is we're going back to some things we did in the past, and that is we're starting earlier in the morning. In years past, back in the old days, it'd be not unusual to have a game at 5:15 in the morning. Some of our folks don't like that anymore. Now we start games at 7:15. So we may end up having to expand our time, and we may have to eat into some of the other activities of ISON. Right now, our biggest challenge in growth is facility. We just don't have the facility. Until we answer that part of it, we're going to be challenged. So as an alternative, we focused on the quality of our program. We know that our limit is a certain number, but whatever that number is, we want to make sure it's the best quality program. And along with that line, we have some of the best coaches ever that are coaching our program. We have a unified strategy for teaching the game from all levels, from the mite levels to the 5, 6, 7-year-olds, all the way up to the 18-year-olds. All the coaching staff is on the same game plan. We use the USA Hockey ADM model, which is the developmental model. And so our focus right now is quality. If another 100 kids wanted to join our program, I'd have a hard time bringing them in. It's hard to say that, but that's our reality. That's why we're actively pursuing this opportunity with the Warrior for Life. We know that if we had a second sheet, I could double our population, and not necessarily at the expense of our competition out there, our partners. I think there's just that type of pent-up build for that type of program.
Well, Rich, we certainly, wish you the best. Obviously, Bob's in partnership with you, and you have many other partners and people on your staff. We certainly wish you the best as you operate and grow the association. A beautiful website there for people to visit.
I appreciate that.
Learn more about what you're doing. Bob, back to you. I acknowledge and admire the adult hockey you've played, shared many photos of the senior league hockey that you've been doing, and obviously the coaching there. But something very near and dear to us at the Chamber, elevate your leadership. If you tell us a little bit more about that and how that helps young leaders, obviously people coming out of sports, and as you transition from sports, transition to business, how has that helped you and your staff and others that you've come in contact with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I developed a leadership experience called Elevate Your Leadership about 1.5 years ago. It was originally designed to take place at iFLY Virginia Beach, and we incorporate flight time into the experience. So, and what you learn, how you learn to fly in a short amount of time, and this kind of anxiety that some people have, and getting over your fear, expanding your comfort zone, etc. That's kind of the metaphor. That's the flight experience, and that's the metaphor in leadership. So I built a program kind of around a flight experience, and things were going great. Just very popular, very successful. And then COVID hit, so I had to turn it into a webinar seminar, which is also going very well. But I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a certified trainer, et cetera. And there's no substitute for the in-person experience. There's nothing wrong with the webinar. I'm not criticizing, an online experience, but through personal interaction with others and your ability to have sidebars, et cetera, there's just a lot to be gained through the personal or the in-person experience. The other part about Elevate Your Leadership, I developed that I was looking for leadership training for my team. I have 35 people on the iFLY Virginia Beach team, 6 people in management in leadership roles. And I was looking for leadership development for them, similar to the leadership development that I grew up with in the military. And of course, that's hard to find outside of the military. So I developed a curriculum and a program, and I trained my leadership team, and other people saw what I was doing, and they said, you know, you really have something there, take it to market. So I've done that, and I have to tell you, I enjoy doing it more than anything else. I learn so much every time I get a group of people together. It's a very fun, very interactive process, and the feedback I've gotten has been great. So that experience, Elevate Your Leadership, you can learn all about at robertpizzini.com. That's robertpizzini.com, and they say if you say it 3 times, people get it. So robertpizzini.com.
Let me jump in here, Claudell. I'm also in the training business. I focus on car dealerships, been in the car business all my life, and have a management company. And Bob invited me to his leadership, one of his leadership in-person programs, which I attended, which I thought was absolutely great. Really mirrored what we're doing in the automobile business. And I liked his taking his military experience and tying it into the business world and the training world. And I felt so strong about it. I invited Bob to contact one of my dealer groups. I got a great group in Texas. There's 6 dealerships, very dynamic young group, and asked Bob to come out and present his program. And they were just ecstatic with the concepts. And the concepts are really, a lot of it's just not common sense. You know, there's not a lot of common sense in there. So I would highly encourage, absolutely, I would highly encourage anyone who's interested in some leadership concepts, some training, some thought-provoking things to attend the leadership conference. Even the Zoom conference is great. I do agree that in person is a lot more dynamic, but again, if you can still pick up a lot of information on a Zoom if that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned, the mission of the Sports Commission is to continuously highlight new and unique sports. And Bob, kind of back to you, the skydiving sports we've mentioned in previous conversations, but you actually had tournaments there and exhibitions there at the facility. Tell us a little bit more about that, and what could the future look like for skydiving sports in the area at iFLY?
Yeah, so indoor skydiving is a sport. It's a local sport, it's a national sport, and it's an international sport. Okay. And it kind of follows skydiving. You know, I hate to say indoor skydiving versus outdoor skydiving. It's all oxymoronic, but you know, the sport of skydiving originated by people jumping out of airplanes and doing different maneuvers during the free fall portion, or doing precision canopy flight and canopy landing, etc. And of course, you have to be 18 years or older to be a certified skydiver, at least in the US. Sure. So the beauty of indoor skydiving is kids as young as 3 can participate in this activity. And indoor skydiving is much like operating an ice rink. If you go figure skating one Sunday afternoon with your family one time in a year, it's an amusement activity for you. If you go figure skating once a month or ice skating every Sunday, it becomes a recreational activity. And then you can join the sport. You can, you know, get in competitive figure skating or competitive hockey. So it's amusement, recreation, sport. Indoor skydiving is the exact same thing. You know, you were here last week, Claudell, so you had an amusement experience with you know, you and your family. If you decided to put one of your kids in our youth league, then it becomes this recreational activity. And if they want to be competitive, then there is something called the U.S. Indoor Skydiving, which is the national governing body for the sport of indoor skydiving. And just like we have USA Hockey, which is national governing body for the sport of hockey, USA Figure Skating, etc., we have something called U.S. Indoor Skydiving. So what we've done at iFLY Virginia Beach, first of all, we established U.S. Indoor Skydiving, another foundation to help grow and regulate the sport. And in doing that, we hosted the first 3 U.S. national championships at iFLY Virginia Beach, which selected the U.S. national team, which then goes on to compete in either a World Cup or a World Championship. They alternate every year, just like soccer and other international sports. So again, that was moving right along. We hosted the first 3 U.S. national championships here in Virginia Beach. Great support from the city, the CVB, Nancy Hellman and her group. And And then again, once the World event has been delayed and canceled due to the COVID situation, we did not hold the U.S. National Championship this year due to the COVID situation. But the summary there is this is an emerging sport, and it's a wonderful sport, especially when we see all the youth participation.
Well, gentlemen, great insight, great ideas, great vision from both of you on your mutually shared Warrior for Life project. Bob, obviously, first-class organization there in iFLY, community outreach and business model, and great team there. We certainly just appreciate you guys' time this afternoon for coming on the show and just opening up this whole Warrior for Life.
Well, listen, Claudell, since
listening funds as we speak.
So Claudell,
warriorforlife.org.
That's it.
Since you've been over diving or doing the flying over at iFLY, I think it's now appropriate that you bring your family over to Iceland and we put some skates on you, maybe a helmet on you, just to make sure you're protected.
Elbow and knee pads too.
That's right. It gets you on the ice and lets you experience figure skating or ice skating when it's a little cold inside the rink.
No, we'll definitely take you up on it. If I can handle indoor skydiving, I can handle that too.
And we're also looking for guys to join our adult Warrior for Life hockey team. That Bob is our superstar. And Bob will tell you, you don't have to be really good to be on our team. You just want to come and have some fun with the guys. So you're welcome to join our team, and just tell us what number you want on your jersey, and we'll make it happen.
Rich, I do appreciate the opportunity. I may end up being a spectator, but I appreciate the opportunity nonetheless. I'm a retired coach, and maybe I come back in the coaching aspect maybe.
Okay, that'd be cool.
That'd be great.
But gentlemen, we appreciate this. To catch Sports Talk 757 again, tune in December 17th as we have warriorforlife.org. December 17th, as we have Brinson Paolini and Adam Reeland of the PGA joining us to talk golf in the area. Brinson's a aspiring PGA pro, and Adam Reeland is our local PGA golf manager at Bideawee Portsmouth, or Bideawee Golf Course in Portsmouth. I certainly want to thank our sponsors again, HR Chamber, Optima Health, CHKD Sports Medicine, Atlantic Bay Mortgage, Pepsi, and Talent Bank supporting us. Bob, again, Rich, thank you for your time. Great insight, great efforts. We certainly wish you guys the best of luck in your businesses and your foundations. Thank you again, gentlemen, and you guys have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Claudell.
Okay.
Bye.